Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Ashok ji, you can start with How to Love God.
Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. How to love God. To love God in the most practical way is to love our fellow beings. If we feel for others in the same way as we feel for our dear ones, we love God. If instead of seeing faults in others, we look within ourselves, we are loving God. If instead of robbing others to help ourselves, we rob ourselves to help others, we are loving God. If we suffer in the suffering of others and feel happy in the happiness of others, we are loving God. If instead of worrying over our own misfortunes, we think of ourselves more fortunate than many, many others, we are loving God. If we endure a lot with patience and contentment, accepting it as His will, we are loving God. If we understand and feel that the greatest act of devotion and worship to God is not to hurt or harm any of His beings, we are loving God. To love God, He ought to be loved. To love God as He ought to be loved, we must live for God and die for God, knowing that the goal of all life is to love God and to find Him as our own self. Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Over to you, Karthik. Thank you.
Avtar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you very much. So I'm just reminded of the beautiful line that we heard, that we came across yesterday, Baba's line. Let's all also keep that in mind as often as possible, like all our messages. So we have to learn to think with the heart and feel with the mind, right? So that's automatically going to balance and ensure that love gets the prominent position that it deserves. And with that, we progress towards divine love. And with that, we go towards our innermost loving self, right? I think that's the journey that we all need. Okay. So last session, oops, yeah, last session we stopped in after we finished state six, right? We started at the gases and then went through evolution, went through the human form, and we realized how evolution ends in the human form. And now we are starting the involution process with state seven, right? Any comments before we start? Okay, so let me start reading. Avtar Meher Baba Ki Jai. State 7. God in the state of spiritually advanced souls. After a long, drawn out struggle with the life of the gross senses in the gross world, the consciousness of the soul begins to get drawn towards the big S self of the soul rather than to remain focused on the gross body and its gross environment. After a number of births and deaths, the gross conscious human soul is at last inevitably drawn to embark upon the process which will lead the man ultimately to the goal of God realization in human form. So, should we say here, which will lead the consciousness of the soul, right? Ultimately to the goal of God realization in human form, right? But again, man is probably used here to underline the fact that this is possible only in the human form and as man. I continue. The consciousness of the soul, therefore, begins to withdraw itself from the world of gross senses and is now ready to undergo the process of involution. The soul is thus said to advance spiritually through the subtle and mental spheres. The subtle sphere, or the subtle world, is the domain of the first three planes of the involving consciousness of the soul. The fourth plane lies between the subtle sphere and the mental sphere, and the mental sphere contains the fifth and the sixth planes. This seventh state of God comprises the advance by the pilgrims on the spiritual path through the subtle and mental spheres. The greater the advance, the greater the involution of consciousness. When the soul becomes conscious of the subtle sphere through the subtle body, it identifies itself with the subtle body, and when it is conscious of the mental sphere through the mental body, it identifies itself with the mental body, just as it identified itself with the gross body when it was conscious of the gross sphere through the gross body. So, this particular paragraph is nothing but this. Wait a minute. Is nothing but this one, right? So your conscious uh, is the screen showing up the chart?
The chart is
Yeah.
showing illusion and reality. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is what Baba is explaining, right? So each of the spheres you experience through that particular body, and you're conscious of it through that body, right? So this is the probably the visual representation of what we just read in the last paragraph. Diving back.
Just one minute, Jay Baba. It's
Yeah, yeah.
interesting to note that the gross, subtle, and mental body is, we are still in the illusion. Only when we, this would probably be from plane 0 to plane 6, and when you cross this, you get, in plane 7 you get into reality. Is that the right way of putting it?
Perfect. Another way of looking at it is up to here, you are in not in illusion, up to six. So if you see here, 0 to 6, you are in the path, and you get into reality and hakikat only in the seventh plane. So you're right.
There's a threshold.
If
Yes.
I'm trying to show it in all the places, and just so that it gets us comfortable in multiple ways, right? See, all the charts and all the messages and all the books convey only one thing, right? We just have to absorb it in the way that we are most conversant, or our samskaras relate to them the best, right?
And on a lighter note, you always say that MOM, or minimum mukti, is
Ordinary mukti, yes.
minimum ordinary mukti. At least
On a very
we,
serious note.
on
Not
serious note,
no.
on a serious note, but you put
Yes.
it very nicely. Jai
Yes.
Baba.
So on a very serious note, Baba, my request is to get minimum ordinary mukti, and minimum again is grace can give me anything, but I am happy with ordinary mukti. Right? So anyway, let's continue. We finished this paragraph. We start here. I continue. The spiritual progress of the soul through these spheres is entirely in imagination. The pilgrim's progress in the involution of his consciousness consists in replacing one realm of imagination for a better and higher level of imagination, right from the first through the sixth plane of involving consciousness. In the seventh plane, the involving process is complete. Imagination comes to an end, and reality is realized and is no longer a concept. We saw that in chapter 11 very, very clearly. Those who enter the spiritual path and tread upon it without the help of a master to guide them, very often get lost in the labyrinths of sights and illuminations and have little or no chance of redeeming themselves from that position. They are like children who, on their way to school, get distracted by the sights and attractions of the marketplace. The enchantment on the spiritual path is so great and the enticement so intense that even in the earlier stages of the journey, the pilgrim has a pseudo sense of God realization from which he cannot emerge unless helped by perfect masters. Many an advanced pilgrim in the subtle sphere thinks that he has gained complete freedom from births and deaths, although this is not so. The delusion remains up to the sixth plane of involving consciousness, but it is most conspicuous between the third and the fourth planes. The fourth plane of consciousness is the most treacherous stage in the pilgrim's progress because this is the stage when all the powers of the infinite big E energy of the subtle sphere are under his direct command. The misuse of these powers means the downfall and disintegration of the consciousness of the soul. Though it is a fundamental fact that once consciousness is gained, it can never be lost, yet an exception to this rule can occur, but only at the fourth plane, where there is a good possibility of the consciousness gained by the soul being disintegrated. While it is never lost completely, it disintegrates as far back as the consciousness of the stone form. The whole process of evolution of consciousness then has to be repeated to regain the full consciousness and the human form. Thus, it is that from the fourth plane, the pilgrim on the spiritual path may either fall back due to the abuse or wrong use of tajalliyat, which is nothing but siddhis, or progress by further involution of his consciousness to fifth plane consciousness and capture the experience of the mental sphere or the mental world. Crossing the fourth plane and stepping into the fifth would mean gaining approach to the divine gate.
Karthik, can I ask you to read this again and also highlight the last paragraph, the paragraph you read? It's very important. I mean, at least, I mean, I
Sure.
think I this is
Thus,
a threshold sort of a level where which we have to cross and which in which we can get sort of misled.
hmm, hmm. I was just thinking and trying to recollect how many places in God speaks, including the supplement, that the fourth plane dangers are underlined by Baba. And I think it is three or maybe even four, right? So that again underlines how many times Baba is pointing this out, because so that when we reach that stage, we remember, of course, we are most likely to be guided by Baba himself, but the reminder should serve us on the dangers of misuse. I will read again. Thus, it is that from the fourth plane, the pilgrim on the spiritual path may either fall back to the abuse or wrong use of tajalliyat, siddhis, or progress by further involution of his consciousness to the fifth plane consciousness and capture the experience of the mental sphere or the mental world. Crossing the fourth plane and stepping into the fifth would mean gaining approach to the divine gate. Okay, see what happens in the sixth. In the sixth plane, the pilgrim sees God face to face. This seeing is through the mental eye, when the consciousness of the soul identifies the soul with the mental body. Even when the pilgrim sees God face to face in the sixth plane of his involving consciousness, the grip of duality is not overcome because the seer and the seen are still differentiated through the seeing. So, this is a good way to identify sixth plane, right?
Yeah.
The seer and the seen are still differentiated through the process of seeing. Okay, let's continue. Imagination on the plains ceases as soon as the pilgrim crosses the field of illusion and enters the realm of reality in the seventh plane of completely involved consciousness, where he is absolutely free of all traces of impressions. The seventh plane consciousness is full as well as mature and is the impressionless consciousness which identifies the soul with its big S self in quotation marks. The soul then feels and experiences consciously its eternal existence as God. A drop in quotes, soul, devoid of any bubble, which is form of ignorance in big I illusion, realizes its eternal existence in the infinite ocean as the ocean itself, the Paramatma or the Oversoul. So, this is the seventh plane experience. Okay, so that's seven. Any thoughts before we continue?
Now, the example of bubble is so very evident right now. If the bubble is the covering the drop of water from the ocean, that
Hmm,
covering is all the sanskara, starting with
correct.
the who am I till the end. And as this bubble breaks or dissolves completely, what is left is only the water, which is as good as water.
Ocean.
So, complete identification or realization of I am God state, rightly
Correct.
understood, I think. About.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's move on and move to state eight. God as the divinely absorbed. This state of God signifies for the soul the end of the long evolutionary struggle, the end of the reincarnation process, and the end of the realization process through the planes. This is the divinely absorbed. This is after involution. So I repeat, this state of God signifies for the soul the end of the long evolutionary struggle, the end of the reincarnation process, and the end of the realization process through the planes. For the individual soul, there is no higher stage towards which to aspire because it has reached the goal by becoming one with God. The God realized pilgrim of this stage is known to the Sufi world as a Majzub, and the Vedantist calls him a Brahmi Bhut. The Majzub has no body consciousness and no consciousness of the three spheres, the gross, subtle, and the mental. This means that in this state, 8, God as Majzub consciously experiences his own infinite trio nature of infinite power, knowledge, and bliss, but does not make use of these infinite aspects of his nature. So, This summarizes the state 8. Experiences but does not use.
You
Jay Baba, I think you should go to table 278 and look at that,
Yeah,
all those four stages, and just read that part, all the three terms, in Sufi, Vedantic, and Christian mysticism. So we have like a proper understanding of the terminology.
this
Jay
is the
Baba.
one you're talking about, right? Or this one. 278. This one, right? You're talking about this one, correct?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Each time you read the God states to God 9, 8, 9, 10, we should refer
hmm,
back. Yeah.
good point. But so first time we are, I mean, stage 8 or the stage 8 of God is the first part of the table here. The Sufi term is Madsub e Kamil, and the state is Jam. Jam is union, or Halat e Muhammadi, and stage or aspect is Alam e Lahut, and the experience or the gnosis that he experiences is Anal Haq. The Vedantic term is Brahmi Bhut. The state in Vedantic terms is Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Stage or aspect is Vigyan, and the gnosis is I am God. Aham Brahmasmi. I mean, Aham Brahmasmi in Sanskrit. So all these three gnosis terms are exactly the same meaning. Mystic, mystic, that is biblical tradition, he becomes the perfect one. The state is called or referred to as
But I would
God
also
merged.
recommend one. I'll also
Yeah, go ahead,
recommend one
Kamal.
more thing. On the glossary, you have the definitions of
Yeah,
each of these terms. So that would also add value to it. Yeah, Baba.
yeah. God merged, and super consciousness is the stage or aspect, and the gnosis, as we already learned, is I am God. Now, again, let's go back to the map. So if you go
Seva,
and see, yeah.
what is the chart number of the last one you just referred to? Or the reference?
It's not a chart. It's not a chart number. Like Kama pointed out, the only way to refer to it unambiguously is page 278.
Okay.
But I have added it to the charts because it's a handy reference.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So where are we on the map? So on the map, you finish the journey, the end of the first divine journey, and get to state 8, where you become a Madzub e Kamil. You have reached Halat e Muhammadi, which, and the gnosis you're having is I'll come here where you will see, yeah. So Madzub e Kamil, Brahmi Bhut, and that's the first stage, right? We also created a PowerPoint for this. Let me try to get that. It's a good way to see if it is correct. Is correct or wrong, because it's created by us. Just give me 1 second. Loading. So let's again, like I said, this is just uh, uh, so if you remember, this is what we did, right? So you go through the planes, and if you look at the stages, do you remember the slide, everybody? I
Yes,
think you
yes.
do. Yeah. So the first journey is this part, and yeah, I think here it is, right? So if you see the section in black, that's the final fana, and that's the end of the first journey. It ends in this slide, which is nothing but that's broken into two stages: first stage and the second stage. You start with annihilation of the mind and end up with the nirvikalpa state, which is the I am God state, which is what we just learned, right? So let's get back.
And
And
one more point to add here is that this is the end of the first journey.
first journey. And if you see the diagram here, that is also confirmed. So here you see end of the first journey leads you to this stage.
Yes.
You get fana fila. First, you have the final fana and fana fila, and that takes you to. I hope you're reading the items in blue. So there is the final fana, followed by fana fila, which is nothing but Manonash and Nirvikalpa, like we just saw in the pink slide. Uh, and then you reach the end of the first divine journey where you become Mansub A Kamil, or Brahmi Bhut, or God absorbed or divinely absorbed, like mentioned here.
And there are two variants here. One is the Brahmibodh, the other one Paramahansa.
No, yeah, so
That
yeah,
one we need to
correct,
clarify. Yes,
correct, correct. So the Paramahamsa alternates, whereas the Mazube Kamil is in permanent condition of enjoying the trio nature, right? So we'll get to that in a bit. Okay, so let's get back and I continue reading. In this state 8, the unconscious infinite state A of God, state A of God now, the unconscious Paramatma not only gains the highest divine consciousness of state B of God, the conscious Paramatma, but in this state, God becomes divinely absorbed in the reality of his own infinite conscious state and thus realizes his eternal identity with the infinite conscious state B of God. So, one, the unconscious state. Now, what's the chart for this? So,
that's the
let's go
bottom of the
to,
chart.
no, no, no. I'll just go to the, yeah, 10 states of God, right? So from here, you're going here. And I wanted to show this chart, but Mamaji, you had something else in mind?
No,
Which chart were
go
you
ahead.
thinking of?
No. Go ahead. Go ahead. I thought the
Yeah, yeah.
last chart, bigger one, bottom out.
11. 11? No.
This one. Yes.
Yeah, 11. Okay. So anyway, so where were we? Yeah. So these are the two states. From here, you get to the full consciousness and experience power, knowledge, and bliss. Madzub A Kamal. Okay. Let's get back. Now we'll get to the other states. Okay. The state 8 of God is of the highest divine consciousness, which is the Ahadiyat, Halat e Muhammadi, or Vigyan. Now, what is Halat e Muhammadi? So it is a phase, right? So if you go to this, Baba has put Halat-e Muhammadi here. Noor-e Muhammad, Hakikat-e Muhammadi. Yeah. So if you see the dark lines here, can you see Halat-e Muhammadi? State of Muhammad. So from the end of the first journey, up to Salik-e Akmal. Above that is only Avatar and Sadguru. Okay. Other than that, everything else is Halat-e Muhammadi. From Majzub-e Kamil through Paramahamsa, Turiyavastha, followed by Jivan Mukta, and then Salik-e Akmal. All of this is state of Muhammad. And that's the paragraph we are going to read. Right?
Yeah.
I start again. This state 8 of God is of the highest divine consciousness, which is the Ahadiyat, Halat-e Muhammadi, or the Vigyan. All God realized beings, the Majzub-e Kamil, Brahmibhut, Majzub Salik, Paramahamsa, Azad-e Mutlak, Jivan Mukta, Kutub, Sadguru, and Rasul, Avatar, retire to the state B of God in the beyond after disembodiment. So it's actually includes the Avatar and Perfect Master. The Avatar and Perfect Master are here. So
Yeah.
basically, from here right up to here is state 8. Unfortunately, I can't select, but I'll just focus on this part. Yeah, this much is what we are reading about.
Well,
So it's,
uh,
yeah, come on.
yeah, yeah. You can put the name Ahadiyat or state of divine consciousness or Vijnan at that state of Muhammad, so that it is.
Yeah, that's a good
You
idea.
have all the terminologies there.
Yeah.
Hmm? Yeah.
Okay. And it comes here. And okay, yeah. But technically speaking, it's let's Ahadiyat is from here. Oops. Okay, that's fine. I'll figure out how to represent that. Okay, let's continue from the second part of the continue the second part of the paragraph. Meher Baba explained that such a okay, so before that, so all of these experiences, Baba says, are a retirement to state B of God in the beyond state after disembodiment. I have a question.
Uh,
So, is the Majzub-e Kamil having body or not?
no, you read that.
Para again. Okay, sure.
Yes, yes,
The
yes.
state 8 of God is of the highest divine consciousness, which is the Ahadiyat, Halat-e Muhammadi, or the Vigyan. All God realized beings, the Majzub-e Kamil, Brahmibhut, Majzub Salik, Paramahamsa, Azad-e Mutlak, Jivan Mukta, Kutub, Sadguru, and Rasul, Avatar, retire to the state B of God in the beyond after disembodiment.
After disembodiment, that is important. Okay. All of them are uh, retiring or are the same on disembodiment. At that time, they
So,
have some sort of a variability. For that, different terminologies are used. So we have to sort of define, starting from Brahmibhut, Paramahamsa.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. You're right.
No, I want the text
Jivan
first.
Mukta, Paramahamsa,
Jivan
Jivan Mukta, and then
Mukta.
Avatar.
No,
One second, one second. Hutu and Avatar.
Paramahamsa, Jivan Mukta, Sadguru,
Hut-
and then Avatar.
But in chart
So
11,
in
there's
our
one more.
mind,
No, no, in chart 11, there's one more. So between Avatar and so here, Azade Mutlak, okay, Jivan Mukta. Then there's one more, Salik e Akmal. But you can take Salik e Akmal to be the same as Sadguru,
Sadguru.
because most perfect one, right? So otherwise, what we just read is the meaning, which is Brahmibhut, Jivan. I mean, if you let's stick to one at a time. Brahmibhut, Paramahamsa, Jivan Mukta, Sadguru, and Avatar. That's the sequence. Yeah.
Yes, the only thing is that Surya Avastha, there is another term. So these things,
Correct.
it is not getting crystallized in the mind. What is the difference between these stages?
Yes.
So that we'll
So
have to understand. And this also refers to the second, third, and fourth journey also,
correct.
this area. Okay.
Correct. So Turiyavastha will come in the next stage, but
Yes.
basically, uh, all of these states that we are reading, all of that is in this B, is what we need to register. So all of these states after the body, what happens? After disembodiment, you are in state B. You are permanently in state B,
Yes.
uh, divinely in state B, or God in state 8 is in B. Okay. So you see
Okay.
here,
Okay.
God as divinely absorbed. Yeah. Let's go back now and let's continue the second part. Meher Baba explained that such a disembodied state of the perfect master is referred to by the Sufis as Halat-e-Muhammadi, state of Muhammad, as distinguished from Muqam-e-Muhammadi, office of Muhammad, when he is in a physical body. So,
And now the terms are
is
very clear now.
correct.
Halati Muhammadi, and then
Yes,
Mukame
in body,
Muhammadi.
Muqam-e-Muhammadi.
So that is
Muqam is
functioning as Muhammad
correct.
and being Muhammad.
Correct.
Yes. Okay.
And further, Baba says, Hakikat e Muhammadi is the 10th state of God in a physical body, and the Mukam e Muhammadi, office of Muhammad,
No,
is
no,
the
no.
Vigyan Bhumika.
No, you read from the Meher
Okay,
Baba
I'll start.
explained.
Yeah, I'll start from there. Yeah, sure. Meher Baba explained that such a disembodied state of the perfect master is referred to by the Sufis as Halat e Muhammadi, state of Muhammad, as distinguished from Muqam e Muhammadi, which is office of Muhammad. When in a physical body, Hakikat e Muhammadi is the
No,
10th
that's
state
a
of
full
God.
stop. No, when in
No,
a
there's a
physical,
comma. There's a
no,
comma.
no,
There's a
when
comma.
in a physical body, the sentence
Yeah.
ends here.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Correct. When in a physical body.
Okay.
Then Hakikat e Muhammadi is the 10th state of God in a physical body, and the Muqam e Muhammadi, office of Muhammad, is the Vigyan Bhumika, office of Vigyan, depicted in the chart as C,
See, yes.
right? Yeah. Now it is clear. So if you go now, so you get to see office of Muhammad
Yes.
in body. power, knowledge, bliss, qualityed, manifest in form, in body. And that is 10, state 10. So state 10. Where is state 10? There was a mention right here. 10th state, right?
Yeah.
10th state of a god is in the physical body, and that is chart in the chart part C, and God as man god and as God man, Sadguru as well as Avatar.
Yeah.
And if we see it in 11, there is Halat e Muhammadi, and I think office is
Mukame
also
Muhammadi, Office of
Mukam,
Muhammad
office. That's what, yeah. So that is in body.
in body.
Mukam e Muhammadi, in body. And in body, it can be both Avatar as well as Sadguru.
Kutu, sir. Sorry,
Yeah.
Mukame. Okay.
So all clear, much better than before, I hope.
Yes. And
Yes,
only
very
one,
good.
they travel back what we have already mentioned in the chart. They can be in a different aspects, functioning as
Uh,
different aspects.
Correct. Okay, let's continue. State 9. God as liberated, incarnate soul. Liberated means realized, incarnate means body, soul. Okay. If God, divinely absorbed as in state 8, recovers and maintains normal consciousness of the mental, subtle, and gross spheres through his mental, subtle, and gross aspects as an embodiment of a perfect human being known as Madzub, divinely absorbed, he then experiences state 9 at the divine junction between God states 8 and 10. Now, go here. This is
That is
9.
okay.
God stationed in divine junction as liberated, incarnate soul, right? If divinely absorbed state leaves its divine state, it goes to the divine junction or the man God state. Okay. That is from here, from 8. If divinely absorbed state leaves its divine state, it goes to the divine junction or the man God state. And at this point, it's 9. Okay. Let's continue. If the soul recovers the normal consciousness of the mental, subtle, and gross bodies and spheres, it comes out of the Madzub state 8, crossing the Fanafila to get the experience of the Baka Bila state. But before becoming established in Baka Bila, it may enter the state known to Sufis as Fana Ma al Baka of the Mukam e Furutat, which the Vedantists call Turiya Avastha. This is state 9 at the divine junction between the Fanafila and Bakabila of divinity. I read this
Then you
paragraph
can,
again.
yes, yes.
Okay, great. If the soul recovers the normal consciousness of the mental, subtle, and gross bodies and spheres, it comes out of the Madzub state 8, previous one, crossing the Fanafila to get the experience of the Baka Bila. But before becoming established in Baka Bila, it may enter the state known to Sufis as Fana Ma al Baka of the Mukam e Furutat, which the Vedantists call Turiya Avastha. This is state 9 at the divine junction between Fanafila and Bakabila of divinity. It's very
This
clear here.
is what I am understanding. Clarity coming only today is that Panafila is the end of the journey, first journey,
Correct.
correct? No? So the
Correct.
movement from there towards the functional journey of 2, 3, and 4, that leads to Bakabila, stages of Bakabila. And this movement or the fluctuating, oscillating point is known as the Turiya Avastha.
Correct.
Okay.
And if you make it through Bakabila, you go to 3, which is on the right. If you see
Yes,
my cursor, you become a perfect master. And that's in body.
yes,
And or you will be an avatar. And when that uh, avatar or perfect master drops body, then you finish the 4th journey.
yes.
ये सब छोड़ दो, just stick on mom. Minimum ordinary bathroom. Right.
This is the
Anyway, on
first
a
day I am
lighter note,
getting.
like Ashok said.
No, this is
Sorry.
the first day, as we have read so many times. This is the first day I am getting the clarity between Panapila and Bakabila. Pana and
Very good.
Baba.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Baba. Okay. Where are we now? Back to the book. So just to see these references, Fana ma al Baka and Mukam e Furutat. Fana ma al Baka. See, Fana ma al Baka, which is nothing but Turiya Avastha of the divine junction. Yeah. Okay. Now, continuing, the God realized souls in a human body at this state are either the Paramahamsa, Madzub Salik, or Salik Madzub, or the Jivan Mukta, Azad e Mutlak. They both enjoy infinite knowledge, power, and bliss, and are conscious of the I am God state. They differ from the Madzub e Kamil, however, in that they can and do become conscious of the 3 bodies and the 3 spheres, mental, subtle, and gross. While the Mansub state is a continual state of being divinely absorbed, the state of the Paramahamsa is one of sometimes being divinely absorbed and sometimes recovering normal consciousness of one who experiences the suluk of sulukiyat. His conscious experience is sometimes that of I am my own God, and sometimes I am my own creature. The state of the Jivan Mukta is one who normally experiences the suluk of sulukiyat, that is, of one permanently established in the state of Vakabila. Both the Paramahamsa and Jivan Mukta differ from the Kutub in not being able to use the infinite knowledge, power, and bliss that they experience continuously. So these two people are in capacity very similar to the Sadguru, but they have no duty. So they cannot, they don't have anything to do. So the use of the power is not there, but the experience is absolutely there. And the difference between the Paramahamsa and the Jivan Mukta is one is in continuous state, whereas the Paramahamsa alternates between 2 states. I am my own God and I am my own creature. Sometimes coming to creation consciousness, sometimes being divinely absorbed. Yeah.
Sri
Okay.
Ramakrishna was in this state.
Yeah. So,
Paramahamsa.
uh,
So it's called
no, but
Paramahamsa.
Baba called him perfect master. So, Paramahamsa is
Perfect
the
master. Yes,
title given by everybody else, but maybe he got promoted later after Bakabila into the third
yes.
journey and became Sadguru.
Sadhguru, but only distinction, as if I am understanding correctly, is that he was able to give God realization to only one. That is Vivekananda. I think that is how it is explained in their literature. And whereas perfect masters can bestow it on many.
Unlimited, yeah.
That is the fine distinction. So,
Correct. We will go with what Baba has said, which is
yes, yes, yes.
he is a Sadguru. But probably, to be fair to the process, maybe he has to go through the journeys. So he would have got Panafila, then he would have been Paramahamsa, then at some point pushed forward as perfect master by Baba. Okay, let's continue. No direct spiritual benefit accrues to the world from a Paramahamsa or Jivan Mukta. There's a footnote. Nevertheless, indirectly, anyone coming in contact with him automatically benefits. Okay, there is a paradox.
Yes.
So, no direct spiritual benefit accrues to the world from a Paramahamsa or Jivan Mukta, but immediately the editor says, nevertheless, indirectly, anyone coming into contact with him automatically benefits. So he will get some sort of grace, some sort of push, some sort of direction, which is not direct and obvious, but indirect. Continuing. However, a Jivan Mukta towards the end of his life does make one single soul perfect like himself, although he has no duty in the three spheres. He enjoys the Baka Bila state, right? So he just enjoys the Bakabila state. And towards the end of Jivan Mukta phase, I mean, embodied state of Jivan Mukta, he gives one soul mukti, that is God realization. Any thoughts, any questions, any comments before we go to state 10?
Anyway, today's journey is more clearer compared to earlier. That the gap
Um,
or the hole in the
Ma-
screen, block is clearing better and better every time we are.
you're progressing closer and closer to the end of the first journey, it looks like. It sounds very much like that.
Yes,
Okay, let's continue. State 10. God as man God and God man. So this is state 10. If you remember, everybody, we saw it here. State 10. God as man God and God man, which is see, which is manifest, and which means he is in body. And if you see it from a chart 11 perspective, it is all of this office of Muhammad, avatar, Sadguru. This is what we are going to read now.
what is that we have typed there? I can just read that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what it is. If you remember, we had the question on this downward arrow.
Yes, yes,
So, my comment, this is my comment, so please bear with me, is downward arrow indicates kutub. I should put kutub,
yes, yes.
kutub or avatar, or in all planes at the same time, operates at the level of the planes and states of all in creation. And the page reference for that is 149.
Yes.
Okay, so that kind of explains why the downward arrow goes up to the lower planes as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
This, Jay Baba, this also explains that when Baba came in, came to, in body consciousness, he also experienced all the pains and all the suffering. I mean,
Yes.
At the same time,
at the
everything
same,
from a blade of grass, from every animal in the world to everything in the universe. Yes.
yes, absolutely.
Okay. Let's get on. Step 10, God as man God and God man. This is the state of God in a human body, such as the perfect master, Kutub or Sadguru. In this state, the perfect master or the man God is divinely, unattachedly, and unlimitedly above the law of illusion that governs the cosmic big C creation in an infinitely systematical order. Okay, what does this line mean? I will try to show you something. Uh, 1 second, I'm just opening up something. All of these, by the way, are in the respective folders that we saw yesterday. So please save that bookmark, and uh, you can get to any of these presentations in view only mode whenever you have a doubt. No, it's not here. Sorry, I think I'm not able to get to it. Apologies. Let me just grab that file in a minute. Yeah, got it. So what we just read now is this. Once you reach stage 10, all these laws don't apply. Physical laws, impressional determinism, which is nothing but sanskaras, and karma, you are at the stage of divine grace. So if you now read that line again, state 10, this is the state of God. I'm reading again. This is the state of God in a human body, such as a perfect master, Kutub Sadguru. In this state, the perfect master or the man God is divinely, unattachedly, and unlimitedly above the law of illusion. So all of the others are in illusion. That governs the cosmic creation in an infinitely systematical order. So there is a legal, I mean, there's a set of laws and set of rules that operates in cosmic big C creation, but this state is above that. And we continue now. And yet he permits himself, big H, to be bound by the limitations of time, space, and causation while continually experiencing consciously his I am God state and his infinite power, knowledge, and bliss. He not only experiences these infinite attributes, but he also uses these for the emancipation of other souls in the grip of ignorance who are still unconscious of their own eternal reality. So,
Yes.
big difference between 8 and 9 is this, right? 8, he only experiences but cannot use. Here, he uses and experiences. Okay, continuing. This is the
Uh,
state of
can you
yeah,
go back to that chart that we have created,
yeah,
which you,
the PowerPoint.
yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes. When was this done? I'm not
this was
getting
done.
that.
This was done based on beams.
Mhm.
So if you look at this, it starts at all of this is from beams. Okay,
Mhm.
so uh, law of the, so it is operation of the divine. It's called the divine hierarchy of laws. I think in the chapter in beams. The reference is in the last slide. Uh,
Chebao Karthik, where can we uh, see all this? I mean, it's in the MBA or where
Yes,
do we
yes,
see?
it's in the folders, right? So yesterday I gave you a link on the Teams conversation itself. If you click on that, all of these are available as organized and as per the references in the books. So if we are now, this is linked to God Speaks and Beams, so it's inside God Speaks
Yeah, yeah.
and so on and so forth. Yeah,
Thank you.
sure. And I even created a tiny URL. So I'll show you what that means. So if you don't remember and you're not on your particular device that you're used to, just go to tinyurl.com/MBA folders. That's it. Just remember tinyurl.com MBA folders. There you go. Okay. So that automatically opens this. And you will see all the books here, the books, the ebooks, the inside the folders. Like if you go to books authored by Baba, you'll see individual folders for the more complex and detailed books and direct references for the others. And if you go to God Speaks, you'll see all the ones, including the charts and other presentations that have been created. Okay.
Okay, we need to have a coaching plan for this.
No, no, no. You have to
Sometime
try it
No, no,
yourself.
no.
No coaching class.
No, no, no. What
The
I
best
mean
way
is,
to learn, yeah, go ahead.
we should open our system and then you should guide us to create all these things in our system so that we become conversant in opening them as and when we require. Feel like
Sure.
studying that. Okay.
Sure.
But
So yesterday
later.
I
Okay.
was just wondering how to make this easier after our how to get to the folders. That's why I created
Yes.
the tiny URL. So you don't even have to remember where this link is. Just remember MBA folders.
So you have
tinyurl.com.
created, pass it on to all the other brains who are
Yes,
yet
yes.
to grapple with it.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Let's do that. Let's
Okay.
do that.
The MBA
Okay.
is in capital.
No, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It's not sensitive to case.
No, maybe after this session, I think we take Mamaji's suggestion. If you can also give us uh, another tutorial, you're mentioning it always, but what's happened is that many of us may not be using it so regularly, may not be conversant with the the links.
Yes, yes.
Yes, yes, sure. Okay, so let's continue reading. This is the state of absolute perfection. Here, God is with attributes and with form, saguna and sakar. Saguna is attributes, sakar is akar. Akar with akar, sa akar. Uh, According to the Sufis, the Kutub connotes the highest point on the upward journey. He is the summum bonum of creation, big C, and the fairest flower of humanity. In the Majzub state, the soul enjoyed the infinite bliss of the I am God state. But the perfect master, Kutub, Sadguru, enjoys the infinite bliss of the I am God state and also the highest divine consciousness of everything is I and everything is from me. Now, like Kama said, that will be in this 278. So if you go to 278, the experience of the kutub. So again, let's just go through the others, which is Paramahamsa and Jivan Mukta, across the columns, right? Before going to Perfect Master. So Majzub Salik or Salik Majzub is nothing but Paramahamsa, which is nothing but the divine Superman, as per the biblical term. The state that the Paramahamsa experience is jam, alternately with or without fark. And the avastha is, I mean, the aspect is fana ma al baka, which is nothing but turiya avastha, and we saw that here. Fana ma al baka, divine junction, turiya avastha. Okay, and he alternates between Salik Majzub and Majzub Salik. God consciousness alternately with or without creation consciousness. And the gnosis that they experience is analhak alternately with hama ba man ast, which is shivoham alternately with or without jivoham. And finally, I am God alternately with or without everything is with me. Now, let's look at what the Jivan Mukta experiences. Jivan Mukta is Azad e Mutlak or Sahib e Zamo Fark. Here, the aspect is Jam with Fark. Fanama al Baka is the aspect. And here, both Anal Haq and Hama ba, Man Ast are experienced together. Vedantic terms, Sahaj Samadhi, with the consciousness of Tribhuvan, the three words. Turiya Avastha, Shivoham with Jivoham. Mystical term is liberated incarnate, God consciousness with creation consciousness. I am God with everything is with me. Now we'll get to the Kutub that we are just reading. Kutub, Sadguru, and Perfect Master are the same meaning. The experience is that of Jam ul Jam, or Bakabila, or Fark ba ul Jam. That's the Sufi expression. Sahaj Samadhi or Atma Pratisthapana with the duty of Tribhuvan. Tribhuvan is three words. And the biblical term is man God. Now, he is in form and he is in office. So he is Mukam e Muhammadi, office of Muhammad. Vigyan Bhumika is the state. He operates from the Vigyan Bhumika. And the mystical word is God consciousness and creation consciousness simultaneously. Here, the experiences are Anal Hak, Hama Man Hama Dar Man Ast, and Hama Als Man Ast. All of them simultaneously. In Vedantic terms, Shivoham and Sarvoham, as distinguished from Shivoham and Jivoham. And finally, in the biblical way, I am God, everything is me, and in me and from me simultaneously. I repeat, I am God, everything is me, in me, and from me. Okay. So, just as a note, Jam is nothing but consciousness of union with God. Fark is consciousness of separateness from God. I think the Urdu fark meaning. Fark, therefore, implies the consciousness of any or all of the three spheres, gross, subtle, mental. Hal, the inner experience of relative existence, obtains only in the planes in and up through the sixth. There is no hal in the seventh planes. Okay, let's get back. So, just what we read, I am God, everything is I, and everything is from me. And there's one more preposition, everything is in. So, if you see here, the kutub, me, everything is me, in me, and from me. So, here there's one missing term. Everything is I, and everything is from me. The missing one is in me. Okay. So, we can actually add that here. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue. This 10th state of God in the human body is the state of Hakikat e Muhammadi. The perfect masters, Kutubs or Sadgurus, and the avatar, Rasul, are all of this state. Whether God is in the state of man God as perfect master or in the state of God man as avatar, he is in this 10th state and functions as a man God and as a God man from the divine office Mukam e Muhammadi or Vigyan Bhumika, depicted in the chart as C. That's the rightmost one in the states of God chart here, right? The first manifestation of God, with his infinite consciousness, assumed this divine office, and this office will ever continue to function eternally to radiate infinite power, knowledge, and bliss, which the perfect masters and the avatar not only eternally experience, but also use for the emancipation of all souls who are still in the grip of ignorance, trying to gain consciousness of their eternal state of oneness with the oversoul. Very,
Can
very
you just
important
please
word.
repeat this sentence?
So I'll repeat and then I will point out a cross reference. I'll
Yes.
repeat this part. The first manifestation of God with his infinite consciousness assumed this divine office, and this office will ever continue to function eternally to radiate infinite power, knowledge, and bliss, which the perfect masters and the avatar not only eternally experience, but also use for the emancipation of all souls who are still in the grip of ignorance, trying to gain consciousness of their eternal state of oneness with the Oversoul. What do you think is the cross reference? The cross reference is the one that we saw yesterday in 27. In Balna 2, we came across the avatar reference, if you remember, and I'll tell you exactly the para that is a perfect match. The first man to realize God as one indivisible and eternal truth was taken up into this realization by the eternal avataric infinite consciousness. Go back to God Speaks. The first,
Manifestation of God.
correct, and then I'm just hiding the sidebar. The first manifestation of God with his infinite consciousness assumed this divine office, and this office will ever continue to function. So C is always there. It's occupied by perfect masters or the avatar, as the case may be, right? And eternally to radiate infinite power, knowledge, and bliss, which the perfect masters and the avatar not only eternally experience, but also use for the emancipation of all souls who are still in the grip of ignorance, trying to gain consciousness of their eternal state of oneness with the Oversoul. So, to further explain that is what Baba has written 27, the avatar as the first master. So something happened, you went through the journey, you reached the state of C, and when you were ready, the eternal avataric infinite consciousness descended on Baba as the first soul, and the avatar and the office of Muhammadi opened. And that office never closed. Either it is occupied by five perfect masters or by the avatar when the avatar is in body. So, yeah, I think let's get back. Like you said, Mamaji, every time we get a little more clearer. Right. Okay. In other words, God in a human body will everlastingly manifest himself in all of his perfection only through this divine office marked C in the chart, the 10 states of God. It was only through this divine office that God, as God man, in the form of Zoroaster, Rama, Krishna, Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, and others, manifested himself and proclaimed in every cycle, age after age, that he is the Savior, the Prophet, the Messiah, the Son of God, the Avatar, the Rasul, the Buddha, and so forth. And it is only through this divine office that the five perfect masters or the kutubs or the sadgurus function as the summum bonum of the whole cosmic creation. So I will, before I forget, let me just put a cross reference here. Yeah, yeah. Continuing. The Sufis call this divine office Muqam-e-Muhammadi, after the name of Prophet Muhammad, the Rasul of God, in his Hakikat-e-Muhammadi. Similarly, Jesus of Nazareth, the Son of God, is, like Muhammad, Zoroaster, Krishna, Rama, Buddha, the God-man, whilst Christ, like Hakikat-e-Muhammadi, is the divine state of Jesus. When we try to put together all the different stages of God in a nutshell, five distinct stages in the travail of the unconscious Paramatma to gain complete consciousness become conspicuous. So, what is this line mean? This line means when a God in the beyond state comes. So, let's read that line again. When we try to put together all the five different stages of God in a nutshell, five distinct stages in the travail of the unconscious Paramatma, here, God in the beyond state, Allah, Paramatma, God the Father, unconscious state, after beyond the beyond. Okay. To gain complete consciousness becomes conspicuous. Matlab, from there into coming into the conscious God experience, here there are five stages. Given where we are in time, I would suggest that we take up the five stages together next weekend so that
Yes.
it's done together rather than break up or try to rush it.
Yes.
Yeah, good, good. But can you just look up samam bodham, please? The phrase or the meaning of that. Sam,
Okay, sure. Tamam Burnham. The highest good, especially as the ultimate goal according to which values and priorities are established in an ethical system. A human figure, the example that's given is the human figure, the summum bonum of academic art predominated. Basically, the pinnacle of order, the pinnacle of the ultimate goal that everybody aspires to, and so on and so forth. I think that's the way to understand it. It appeared twice, right? It appeared even above summum
Yes.
bonum. So good that you brought that up. And let's stop here. So it was
We are on which page right now?
right
The
now
second book,
we are in 187.
180.
So we are almost at the end of it. There is one supplement after we finish the five stages under stage 10. There's one supplement, and that's the end of the book. Yeah. Any comments? Any questions? So today was all over the place, right? We went to many presentations, many cross reference, but I think it was very exciting to say
Yes.
the least.
Both
Yeah.
yesterday and today were quite engrossing
Very
and awakening.
exciting,
Really, for me, it was
exciting.
clear awakening. So first time I
Yes.
could fathom something about Pana, Sila, and
Pakabila.
Ila. It was
Yeah.
really a jargon till now for me.
Correct. Correct. Okay. So I will stop the recording.